G'day guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back for another episode of Wasteland Survival. So, in between episodes I went ahead and I finished off these hallways. Well, I mean, there's a few blocks missing here or there, but yeah, they're mostly done. This one is probably more complete. I did add an extra light here on the roof because they were kind of uneven, and I think I left them the way that they were on this side. So yeah, apart from that, everything is pretty much the same. Oh, one thing I did do as well is I removed these corner lights that used to be here. They were about here, so I removed those because they were just kind of sticking out and looked a bit weird. So as you can see though, I haven't put the light behind here, so I need to fix that as well. So yeah, a few little bits and pieces I need to sort out. So yeah, now the one thing that I really wanted to focus on in this episode was actually getting a door complete. So, and oh, actually, this is awesome. It's actually daylight. I hope the sun isn't going down. No, it's coming up. Awesome. Alright, so the main thing that I want to get done in this episode is the door. So, yeah, I'm going to have to grind all of these blocks here. I'd say probably these blocks too. I might be able to leave those there though. Those should be fine, I think. Wait. Yeah, that center block. Actually, I'm going to remove that. So, yeah, I'm going to need to remove all these blocks on this top ring. But somehow join it together at the, yeah, somewhere inside so that, you know, it's kind of still one grid. So, the plan is to have kind of like two doors. So I'll have a door split down the middle, so one side will open in that way and the other side will open in the other way. So yeah, I need to drill, I don't know, I've got to work out how big the door needs to be. Then I need to figure out how far in the mountain I need to drill. So the plan for the door to work is going to be kind of similar to the way that I've set up my train, except behind that is going to be some pistons. So it'll kind of be a door that'll kind of sit on a rail, and then it will kind of move back and forth on a whole bunch of wheels, because it is going to be some of these blast door blocks. Yeah, these blocks here, which are, yeah, really heavy. So I'm going to need quite a few wheels to support the weight, and pistons alone won't be able to support it. So yeah, especially in this gravity. Maybe in space it would work, but yeah, in this gravity, no way. So, and then I also need to figure out exactly how many pistons I need. So, alright, let me go and figure out exactly what I need to do, and then I'll explain it. Alright, so I think I've figured everything out. Alright, so this gap here is about 13 blocks long. So I need my door to go at least 13 blocks. Now, a piston will go 4 blocks, so obviously, you know, I'm going to need 5 of these pistons to get it to work. Now, the thing is with these pistons is that they are 2 blocks long, so if I need 5 pistons, then I need like 10 blocks behind the door itself to mount the pistons. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, it doesn't really... Yeah, I still need to kind of figure out the railing system on the sides and bits and pieces like that. But at least now I know that I'm going to dig like a tunnel probably this wide, like the entire width of the silo, about 12 deep. And then from there, I'm just going to dig probably like a 3x1 little tunnel for these pistons to work. I don't think I need too much clearance for those, so that'll be like a 3x10 hole, so like, you know, 10 deep and then 3 blocks wide. So yeah, and then behind that we'll mount the pistons, and then from that point I think it'll be much easier to figure out the railing system once we've actually got the basics of the door in place. So alright, let's yeah, let's set up a template for this one. I should probably get rid of some of these templates though. But daylight is a wasting, so maybe I'll just leave them for now. Alright, I'll see you guys in a moment. Alright guys, so I've got my little platform done, or kind of like drill guide I would say. I did actually want this thing to be a little bit wider just to add a little bit of leeway for the wheels. But unfortunately, as you can see, this is about as wide as it can get. And I wasn't able to get those blocks there placed. So yeah, just going to have to wing those ones. But that should be just fine. So if we have a look in the spectator camera, you can kind of see this thing poking through the mountain. So I've got to drill this side out, obviously. Or that corner, this corner here, and as you can see, this is where the missing blocks are in the drill guide. So yeah, just gonna have to work around that. That's fine. But if I go ahead and I push this thing forward by 13 blocks, so let's see how far forward it is at the moment. So forward offset is 4, so we go to 17 blocks. And if we have a look in the spectator camera again, that's essentially how deep in the mountain the door is going to go. So I am glad that I set the door so low in the silo. And this is the reason why I did it, because I knew the door was going to open up quite long into the mountain and potentially poke through these little bits here where the terrain sort of slopes downwards. So the only question is, I think I should be alright. I think I should have enough room in... Let me just get my camera in the proper position. So from here, I think I should have enough room to put in my pistons, because if I stay at this level and then just go straight forward, I basically have unlimited terrain above me to be able to do that. So whereas on this side, probably not so much. So yeah, I think if I had made the door any higher, like maybe another 3 or 4 blocks, we probably wouldn't be able to do what we're trying to do here. So yeah, I am glad that I made it so low into the ground. Okay, so the next part is I need to drill all of this out. But like I said, the problem is, or one of the problems I've got is the wheels. So if we go onto here, I'm going to get rid of these because I don't think I have the wheels on my hotbar. So let's put those on. Go back into my characters view. And I'll place a 1x1 wheel. So this is essentially what I'm going to use, very similar to what I did on the train. And if we have a look at that, then that is just a bit more than 3 blocks wide. So I'm essentially going to have to drill out another 4 blocks on the side of that template on either side. So because I can't make the template any bigger, I'm just simply going to move it across horizontally by 4 blocks each time. So we'll change this to, like, let's say 8. And then if we go into the spectator camera, which way did that go? I think it went this way. Yeah, so realistically, our door cavity has to be out to this point here. And then that will give me room to put the wheel suspension, and then also give me some room to place in the railings. So I dare say the railings are going to have to be kind of half blocks again. So we'll probably have, let's kind of figure this out. Let's go into my characters view, and we'll place a half block down there like that. See, even a half block is not really that great. Doesn't really have that much engagement on that wheel. But I think that's what I did on my train tracks, so that should be fine. And something like that. So the wheel's going to sit on the railing like that. It's not going to fully engage with the railing, or with this block, but that's okay. It's a shame there's not like a 3/4 block. So you got like a half block, but yeah, it'd be nice if there was like a 3/4 block. That'd be awesome. Okay, so now we have some drilling to do. Oh yeah, one final thing before I forget. Now, as I'm looking at this thing, I believe this part of the wheel would just kind of clip through the terrain, or this part of the suspension. As you can see, my character's just kind of flying straight through it. So I don't know if I need to drill out a relief for this top and bottom portion of this suspension. Like if I bring it up here, so yeah, that part where you've got the shock absorber and then those bottom kind of control arms, I don't know if I need to make room for those in this tunnel. So I guess I'll drill everything out, and then we'll just see how we go from there. Maybe I don't need to do that and they just kind of clip through the terrain. So yeah, we'll just kind of have to see how that goes. Now, normally I'd time-lapse this stuff, but I don't know. I've done so many digging hole time-lapses that I think if anybody was to watch another one, their soul would be destroyed. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to drill it off camera and be back when I'm done. Alright, so we're back. I've been gone for probably about 2 hours. That's how long it took me to dig this whole thing out. But yeah, as you can see, this cavity is pretty big. If we jump in the spectator camera, you can kind of get a full appreciation of how big this thing actually is. And at this point, I still haven't even dug out the relief that I'm going to need for these pistons. So that's kind of going to be what I need to figure out. Now, if I remember correctly,
low.
I believe to the midpoint here was 13 blocks. So we got 1, 2, 13. Okay, so it's 13 blocks to that point. So I need to go... I'm probably going to go 12 blocks back from this point, and then I'll have the door sitting right here on this edge at all times. So what we'll do is, because this is our midpoint, we'll go back by 12 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so that's roughly where our door will start. We'll go maybe one additional block just for good measure. And how many blocks did I say I needed for these pistons? So if these pistons are about 2 blocks when they're fully compressed, then I need 5 pistons, so I need 10 blocks. So I need to go 10 blocks back. So, and the 5th piston really only needs to go, I think it was 1 block. So we have like 3 blocks worth of piston leeway. So I can reduce, I can move the door in further and like maybe rest it up against this point permanently rather than right on this edge if I want to. We do have an extra block here that's going to take up some space, but that's fine. That still leaves us with 1 extra block of playing room. So what I'll do though is I'll start off from the side just so I know roughly where the transition point is. So this is going to be where our pistons is. So that represents 1 of our blocks. So we need to go back by 10 blocks from there. So yeah, I might just drill this part manually. I'm not going to bother creating a template for that because I don't think I really need to. Alright, so I've drilled out my little kind of, tunnel that I'm going to use for my pistons. So this point here is 10 blocks. So this is essentially going to be my wall. So I might actually drill these out and weld these up because I won't be able to get to them later. So yeah, that is pretty much where my wall is going to be. And then my pistons are going to attach to that. So let's put in some more blocks. Now, what I'm thinking as well is I don't know if I really want the pistons to be right up against these blocks here. So I think I might drill this out just a tiny bit more and put in half blocks everywhere where these pistons need to go. So yeah, I think I might just do that. Actually, do I go 1 block further back because I've got 1 block worth of piston leeway? Is that what I do? Or do I not do that? I think I might just leave it the way it is and I'll see how I go. Maybe we need to change it later, but yeah, I really can't think if I need to. Alright, so let's just double check that we've got the right amount of blocks here. So we've got 1. Okay, so it's 10 blocks to that point. So my pistons will come to this point here. Unpacked. And then packed, they'll extend all the way out to about this point here. So that should be 13 blocks. 13. Okay, so we got 13 blocks there. So that is the width of our door. So technically with all 5 pistons moving as much as they need to, it'll get to that point. But if I fully extend them, then the door will probably get to that point, which is not what I want. But yeah, I've got the option of the door being there, there, or there. So, well, I just need to set that via my piston limits. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and grind out, or drill out this space here and just fill this with half blocks. I think I should have enough room to do that. The question is though, I should probably do that the whole way, shouldn't I? Yeah, I'm gonna kind of have to. Yep, I'm gonna have to do it the whole way. Now the question is, do I have enough room up above to do that? I think I do. I think I should be fine. Let's go over here and just have a look. Okay, yeah, so if I drill upwards, I can still go quite a bit. So I should be fine. So I'll be able to put half blocks on the roof and half blocks on the floor. Now, the reason why I'm putting blocks along the roof and along the floor is so that I can connect these two grids together. So this ring at the moment is only really connected via this block here. If I remove that, that spotlight's going to stop working and anything connected to this will stop working. So I kind of want to make it all the same grid. I don't want this ring here up the top to be a separate grid. I don't think it'll cause me any problems if it is, but I just want it to be the same grid. So, alright, let's let me just drill out this portion and then also the portion over this side, and then I'll be back. Alright, well, as you can see, I've kind of completed one side of this kind of like tunnel for the pistons. Yeah, I probably went a little bit overboard. I probably don't need all of these blocks, but yeah, I added them anyway, so I think it looks pretty cool. But I was about to go ahead and fully weld everything up, and yeah, as you can see, also I've put in my pistons, but I thought maybe it might be a good idea to actually test this thing out before I fully commit and do the exact same thing on the other side. So what I need to do from here is attach my door and then get the wheels hooked up to some sort of a railing, and yeah, so I've got to do that on both sides. But the one thing I'm worried about is the amount that this is going to sag down. So let me just grab some steel plates. Alright, so the main issue I've got is that when you actually place these blocks down, they, like, yeah, all of the components are put into them. So if I go ahead and put in a whole line of these blast door blocks, I think it's going to cause the pistons to sag down so much that I won't be able to get the wheels to work. So what I'm going to do instead is just put a few of them to get me clear of this kind of like tunnel I've built. And then from there, I'm going to put, so yeah, I got to make sure this one is a blast door block, because if it isn't, then I won't be able to like change that block later. As soon as I grind it down, the whole door will fall off. So that needs to be a blast door block, but every block after that doesn't really need to be. Alright, so how wide does this thing actually need to be? Let's figure that out. Alright, so we need 12 blocks. So we've got 1, 2 already, so we just need another 10. But I think the last block as well is going to need to be a suspension. So, or no, sorry, not a suspension, but the last block is going to need to be a blast door block, because obviously if we grind down that block, then the suspension gets detached. So yeah, that needs to be a blast door block. Alright, so we got 1. Alright, so that's 9, and as you can see, it's already starting to sag big time. Yeah, so this is going to be a bit of a challenge. So how many blocks? I'll just make sure I've got the right amount of blocks. Alright, so we got 11 blocks, so now our last block needs to be one of these, a blast door block. And then finally, we need our wheel suspension. So which way do I need? Is it left? Yeah, I think it's left. And that needs to go there. But we can't, because I think I need to dig a hole for that. Alright, cool. So after we dig a hole, we can now place our wheel. But unfortunately, the wheel can't be placed. Actually, I think that might have been upside down. So let me just fix that quickly. I might dig a bigger hole so that I can spawn the wheel in without having to attach it later. So maybe that will work. Alright, let's try that. Grab our wheel. And I believe that's the right way up. I want a 1x1. What am I doing? I'm putting a 3x3 in. Alright, there we go. So, that one there. Fantastic. Alright, so this is where our railing needs to be. So, for now, I might just attach it from here. Alright, so now we're coming up towards our suspension. And I think that's... where does our railing need to be? Alright, so what I'll do is let's see if I can raise this. And that should be enough to put a railing in. Alright, so my railing needs to be probably something like this. So just some half blocks like that. And then some half blocks on this side as well. Alright, cool. So I'll get not a large section of it done, but just a little bit, like enough so that we can start building the door. And then obviously I need to do the exact same thing on the other side. Alright, cool. So now I don't know if I want to, I think I might just leave this side dangling like that, and then I'll adjust both of them at the same time on both sides once I've done the other side. So alright, let's do this side. Alright, so I've got the second side done, railing in, suspension configured. The only thing is the roof here seems to be a little bit lower than the other side, so hopefully that's not going to cause me concern later. I don't think it should though, because I did drill this tunnel perfectly straight, as you can see, like it's really straight. So yeah, I don't think it's going to give me any problems, but yeah, okay, so let's get this suspension configured. So I really don't know what height I need this to be. I guess I'll just increase the strength until this is kind of like more in the middle, and then we can kind of go from that point, I guess. Alright, so here's our wheel suspension. Let's increase the height. So height offset is -1.3. So let's increase that. And although I might need to increase the strength, so let's do that first. Let's go 80%. And let's try the height offset now. There we go. I think it's starting to lift up. Yep. So let's go negative. Yeah, let's just leave it there. That's too complicated for now anyway. Yeah, so I think that's sitting pretty nice. Maybe it could go a tiny touch higher. Let's have a look. If I put a block next to it. No, I can't really tell. Yeah, I think it needs to go up just a little bit more. Alright, so let's go with maybe -15.5 or something. Something like that. Yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. Alright, cool. So that's pretty much dialed in. So now the door should move forward. So I think before I progress any further, what I should probably do is put in this railing all the way And what I am really curious about is that going to clip through the terrain and just like kind of be no problem, or is it going to, yeah, cause me issues? Alright, so I've got my railing installed on both sides. Well, yeah, not so much finished, but just kind of the shell of it installed. So now I really want to reverse this piston here and see if we have any issues. So let's go into this piston. Maybe not. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Alright, fine. I'll fly around and I will go to the control panel directly. Okay, so let's reverse this and see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't blow up. So far, so good. Okay, cool. So I think what I'll do is I'll rename all of these pistons, put them in a group, and then reverse them all at the once, or all at once, using like a control chair or something like that outside. Okay, so I've got my little seat set up. Pistons are all put into a group, as you can see, so they're all put into this group here. Now for the final piston, I've set a limit on the maximum distance to 7.5 meters because I think that's going to be enough, but we'll see what happens. So all I do is push this button and then it should reverse. So I set the speed of each individual piston to like 0.2 meters a second. So hopefully that will work out just fine. So the seat should be safe where it is. Obviously later the door will kind of extend way further, like it'll be 12 blocks long, but it should hopefully be safe where it is. And should stop here, or maybe not. Okay, so that goes out way further than I want. Stop! Alright, so I think that fifth piston probably doesn't even need to extend at all. I think I might have messed up somewhere. I definitely think I have. Alright, so let's set the maximum distance for that and then reverse that one. This is why I didn't really want to use these blocks here, because I knew they'd kind of get jammed up, and that's why I wanted to use these blast door blocks. So now I'm kind of regretting my decision not to. Alright, so I think I know how to fix this. Alright, these blocks are jammed, so I think what I'll do is I'll grab my blast door blocks and I'll just place them all the way along here and then just grind away the regular blocks. Oh, it seems to be moving now. Come on, you can do it. Every time I place a block, it kind of jars it. And the only problem now is I'm adding weight, so I don't know if my suspension settings are going to hold either. Alright, let's go in behind and start grinding out these blocks here. Let's get rid of this one, this one, this one. Alright, leave that one. I'm going to make sure I don't grind out the blocks that are actually supporting the wheels, because if I do, then it all falls down. Okay, so let me just make sure that the piston isn't fully retracted. And it is. Okay, yeah, so I think my mistake was, yeah, I don't know. Maybe these pistons go further than what I thought. Alright, let's reduce the maximum distance of this one to 5 meters. and then reverse that one. Alright, so it ends up about there. Okay. So that's basically where the door's going to live. And then from there, we need the door to go another... So the door's pretty much going to have to meet in the middle. So let's grab another block like that. So I might be able to nudge it forward just a tiny touch. The only problem is, do I have access to a control panel? Okay, so here we go. Alright, let's get piston number 4 and increase this to like 5.15 and see how we go with that. And reverse it. That's a little bit too far. Oh wait, sorry. I need to reverse it again. Wait, no, sorry. I'm messing with the wrong setting. I need my minimum distance to be different. So what I need to do is... How many blocks is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's only 11 blocks. Oh, plus we got 2 blocks there. So that's 13. Okay, so I need to mess with the minimum distance of this piston because I want it to poke out just a little bit. Maybe we can mess with the minimum distance of the final piston though. So we'll have to increase the maximum distance though. So well, actually the maximum distance, yeah, so we'll increase that to 0.1 and then the minimum distance to 0.1 as well. And then can we reverse that? Okay, so let's see where that sits. Yeah, it's a little bit off, so let's increase it to 0.2. Okay, so 0.45 is locked in. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So I still want some kind of distance between these two doors. And if I look down here, I can't really see the guts of the door. That's all covered up from either angle because this is going to be the back. And obviously, like I said before, the door's going to extend over to this side. So I think the next order of business is to extend the door on the sides here and then put in the wheels for that. And I'm actually surprised that these totally clip through the voxels. That's pretty cool. Yeah, definitely works to my advantage. So yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, like I said, so I'm gonna have to run a whole bunch of blocks all the way along here and install the suspension one by one. Alright, so I've just started installing the wheels, so I've decided to place one every other block. So obviously, yeah, I've got a block spacing in between the wheels. That should hopefully be enough to support all of the weight of the door, but I guess we'll see what happens. I suppose we can add more wheels later, but I just thought I'd show you the process of actually adding these. How many more do I actually need to add though? So we've got 1, 2, 3... 1, 2, 3, 4. So I had 11 from this point before, but I actually ground those away. So I've got 4 blocks currently, so need to place... I might place another 4 down like I did before. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's like 9, I guess. Alright, so then I've got to grind away these blocks. Might as well grind away all of them that I need. And then from there, I just line up to about that point there, and I've got to grind or drill this out so the wheel can actually fit in. And that's why I actually backed the door all the way back into here, so that like all this drilling and stuff was done at the rear, so you wouldn't really see it when the door kind of retracts, because it's going to look pretty ugly. So alright, so that should hopefully be enough room. Ooh, probably went a little bit deep there. Oh well, that's alright. Alright, so let's grab our wheel suspension. So we've got 1, 2, and then I think we need to place another one. How many blocks more do I need? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need 9, 10, 11. So I need a wheel there and a wheel there. Alright, so let's place one there. And let's see if it will actually let me place this one. No, it won't. See, that's why I've got to grind this stuff out. Or drill this stuff out, I should say. There we go. Cool. Okay, so now I need to raise these to about -60, I think it was, because... Let's see. No, +60. If I raise them any more, then they actually touch the roof. Like I said before, for some reason this side of the roof is actually a little bit lower than the other side. Alright, so all the wheels are now set to 60, so hopefully that should give me enough space to put in my railings, but let's see if that is indeed the case. It might have sagged down enough where I won't be able to place in the last couple, but we'll see what happens. Oh no, we are good. Alright, so we've got to place in the other side. And then I think what I'll do is I might set up the other side of the door before I start messing around with the settings. Whoops, I placed this block in the path of stuff. Alright, maybe it's easier. Oh, I was going to say maybe it's easier if I get in there and place the blocks, but not really. Okay, let me out. Alright, there we go. Cool. So, now all I need to do is the exact same thing for the other side. Now, the other thing I need to consider as well is like welding this up. So, I think maybe like at least these first row of 2 blocks, I might do that by hand. I might actually grind these out. And what I was thinking is placing a layer of blocks, getting the weld chip up, and then welding that layer, then reversing the door a little bit, welding the next layer, reversing it a bit more, and then so on and so forth. So I think that's going to be the most efficient way to do it. Or I could just like kind of weld up everything past this like rounded silo portion, weld everything like that up by hand, and then just extend the door out and weld the whole thing up using the ship that way. So yeah, there's that way as well, I suppose. So not sure which way I really want to go with that. Alright, so let's get the other side done. Alright, so everything is now set up. So pistons are all configured. I've kind of like disabled one of them, so like the maximum and minimum radius is, or like distance is, what would I say, 0 meters, so yeah, it doesn't move at all. Yeah, we've got all of our wheels installed and I've set those up properly, so same height as the last ones. Then I've also put the railings in, and that's done on the other side as well. So I'll try not to kill myself, but we'll see how we go. So now when I reverse the door, it should just work properly. So let's find our group. Now, as I said before, this one's set to 0, 0. This one here has got a permanent maximum distance of like 0.45. So that's so the door kind of meets halfway in the middle. So now when I push this thing forward, actually I need to make sure, I might have to grind that block away. What I'll do is I'll just temporarily join these two. No, they are joined now, so if I grind this away, they're kind of joined over there. So let's get rid of this though. That's ugly. Can I? It's risky stuff. Alright, there we go. Thankfully that was joined elsewhere. Otherwise that would have all just fallen off. Okay, so now let's go into the menu again, find our pistons, and then just hit reverse. And now it should just pop out. What was that? That sounded like Clang blew something up. Well, I think everything is good. Maybe it was one of those explosive, oh, what do they call them? The things that drop from the sky. I can't think of the name of them now for whatever reason, but yeah, maybe it was one of those. I'm hoping that's what it was. And maybe I pressed P and then something kind of fell off a mooring and then crashed into the ground, or a connector or something. Okay, cool. So, and the door ends up kind of in the middle. So let's see where it sits on the other side actually, because that was one of the other things I was worried about. Is the door actually going to be centered? So on this side it's a little bit more centered than on this side. So the door isn't 100% straight. Hopefully that's not going to matter, but at least we've got the structure of the door set up, so I know everything works. Everything is hidden once the door kind of moves back and forth. Yeah, so all we need to do is the exact same thing on this side. So yeah. Alright, so here we go. I've got the second door pretty much built. Obviously I need to fill it out, but it's pretty much in the exact same state as this door here. I also went ahead and configured the pistons off camera. I did configure the suspension on camera, as you guys might have seen in the time lapse. So what I'll do is jump into this seat and I will reverse the old door and I will reverse the new door. And the reason why I just want to see roughly where it ends up. Like, I ended up placing 5 pistons in there anyway because I knew what the settings needed to be and I just didn't want to mess around with it. So I added the 5th piston anyway, even though it wasn't necessary. So, but I just want to make sure that it actually stops in around about the same spot as that one does. There might be a little bit of discrepancy between the two. I'm fully expecting that, so we'll see what happens. Alright, moment of truth. And it stops pretty much exactly where the other door should stop. And so does that one.
Low.
Oh no. That's gonna have to be... Alright, so I think I gotta reverse this one. So let's reverse the other door.
Fuel critical.
Yes, I know. And see what happens when they meet up. Let's see if Clang is going to destroy this whole contraption. Alright, here we go. Moment of truth. So I think Clang might be an issue. So I need to be quick if it is. No, it's not. And they meet up pretty much perfectly. Like, they're a little bit misaligned, but not entirely. Oh, I need to make sure I don't drop down. Well, yeah, I think the only way I'm getting down is pancake style, so yeah. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there for this episode. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. In the next episode, I'm going to focus on actually getting this door all welded up. All of the structure inside, the door itself, the wheels, everything like that. So anyway, guys, really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.